Hey there, Scorpio. How you doing? So this is the new moon. Happy new moon. This is the new moon in Leo, and I am starting from this point and moving you through all the planetary happenings over the next 2 weeks, all the way to the full moon in Aquarius on the 9th of August. Now, Scorpio, you are in a square energetically to both Leo, where the new moon is, and also to Aquarius, where the full moon is. So this is a particularly poignant moment for you. These next two moons are important. They're going to be in a really important part of your chart in terms of your home, in terms of your career. Big changes are coming up. This is a really lovely opportunity for you to move forwards fast. Now, one of the things about this energy that I really particularly like is the role of Mars. Now, Mars is going to change signs, and he's one of your ruling planets, Pluto being the other. Mars is changing signs, and he's not going to be very happy in the sign of Libra, but he is making some really, really strong aspects on the day of the full moon. That full moon is super powerful. And as somebody who also has Scorpio ascendant, I think a little bit of understanding about this energy and how it fits into your pattern could really help you out in terms of what you're manifesting right now. Overall themes for this 2 weeks, I would say inner renewal, soul unmasking, the idea that light is being shone into all the little crevices of your personality. To me, it's showing you where your own devotion might have gone to distortion, and how to get back into that clear relationship with yourself. So I'm very excited about this. If you're new to this channel, by the way, my name's Louise Satana Munson. Welcome. If you've been here before, thanks so much for joining me once again. What I'm going to do is bring up my slides and dive right in. But just before I do that, I just want to thank everybody that has supported this channel or continues to support this channel, because without you, my life would be very different. So thank you so very much. I completely appreciate you. So we got this new moon, and we're heading towards the full moon 2 weeks later. You'll see here the new moon has no light and the full moon has loads of it. It's illuminating. And this really describes to me the sort of different strategies that you might choose to have around the time of the new moon and the full moon. You see, the new moon, it's a blank sheet. You know, it's like a clear space. This is your opportunity to create possibilities for yourself. This is a place of tuning into what feels right. And you don't have lots of information coming in. It's a time to intuit, a time to feel, a time to check in with your clairs, you know, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience. This is a deeply private moment in time. And as we are going through this week, the first week, you'll see we get to the first quarter where it's half dark and half light. This is our turning point. So this first week, it's like we have an intention, we have this feeling of a new start, and we're dropping some seeds in to see what happens and to see what feels right. And you might start to notice that some are shooting early and maybe some aren't. And around the time of the first quarter, you get the chance to say, okay, that I'm going to continue with, and that I'm just going to recompost. You know, I'm going to compost it down and use it once again. And then when we get to the first quarter, to the full moon, you'll see that the moon is growing every day. Of course, it's not, but that's how it looks. And with this, the light that's coming in, it's outside influences, it's new things coming in from different people. To me, it feels like you're gathering pace, and it's almost an unstoppable kind of swirling energy. And by the time you get to the full moon, I think all the seeds that you've planted, if you've tended to them, if you've dreamt them into being, and you've also taken that sort of cosmic action, by the time the full moon comes along, often we are so much further ahead than we were just a short while ago. This is a time of culmination where our dreams can manifest and actually end, you know, like where they can come to their fullest extent. The full moon is a crazy time. And it also is a time that is deeply creative, because it's just bringing so many different threads together. So that's the kind of process we're going through. It's deep growth, slow at first, and it's getting faster and faster and faster. Now, out of this 2-week period, these are the 3 dates that I think we should be aware of. Now, predictably, or, you know, they are the new moon and the full moon. I mean, I would say that anyway. But also the first quarter, and they all share something, and this is unusual. But what they all share is on that particular day, there is an exact aspect between a planet or 2 planets and Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn and Neptune have been in a conjunction for a little while now, since well, actually, pretty much this whole year they've been in this conjunction, and they're going to be in a conjunction well into late spring of next year. You know, they are both in the same tiny little space at the moment, in the early degrees of Aries, and they are, I think, how we're bringing heaven to earth. You know, Neptune really shows us our greatest ideals, our ideologies, our spirituality, our feeling, our sense of the veils of life, the realities, our understanding of transcendence. Neptune has so many promises, for sure, and yet a lot of people get a little bit disappointed with Neptune, because many of us can't realize the true gift of Neptune, you know, because we're so kind of westernized and so distracted by so many external things. A lot of us, you know, we kind of blink and miss it. We miss that connection to the spiritual world. But Neptune is holding it all together. It's like the fascia in the body. Neptune is all around us. It's like that spiritual energy that everything is possible within. And Saturn is this stabilizing force. It's grounding. It's trying to create structure so that we can house this Neptunian transcendence in. And so it's very, very sensitive. And so these 3 dates I'm definitely going to be exploring. Now, also from your perspective, Mars, Mars is, you know, when he changes signs from Virgo and into Libra on the 6th, you know, Libra is not a great sign for him to be in. However, he is lining up into some very powerful positions, including a trine with Pluto, which, by the way, they are your 2 ruling planets, or our 2 ruling planets. This is a very, very strong augury that things are going very well, and that you're coming into your strength, and that you're feeling really vital. This is fantastic. This is actually, I think, almost like a recovery from really late October last year until April of this year, with the Mars and Pluto opposition. This trine between Mars and Pluto is really nourishing and helpful. And I'll talk about the other bits as we get to there, but the Mercury Cazimi is also interesting. So let's have a look now at what's coming up. So we've got this new moon in Leo, and if you look at this, this is a chart from a Scorpio perspective. You'll see it's all pretty much on one side, and this new moon is right at the top of the chart, and you'll see that Pluto is right at the bottom of the chart. This is the 4th house to do with the home and family, and this is the chart to do with your legacy, you standing in the world, you really showing the world what you're made of. This is, I think, beautiful. This is an opportunity for you to move forwards in a really fantastic way. You know, this new moon is, I think, about to remind you to be confident. It's reminding you of all the things that you've got under your belt already, all these amazing tools and gifts and experience that you're ready to share in a new way in the world. You've also got Mercury going retrograde over this point as well, really changing and recalibrating how you feel about yourself and your success. I think this could be really, really helpful and very useful, in particular on the 31st to the 1st. And according to where you are in the world, Mercury is going to be in a Cazimi, and he'll be in a Cazimi for 8 hours. And during that Mercury Cazimi, there is, I think, the opportunity for you to have a real sort of brainwave about what you need to know that you don't already know, that once you know it will help you save money, time, face, whatever. To me, there is this breakthrough information, so watch out for that. But anyway, what I like about this new moon is this lovely trine between Saturn and Neptune in the 6th, right the way up to your new moon in the 10th. To me, this is activating all aspects of work, and this sense that you can be spiritual and transcendent, but also get your shit done. Like, really get things, get all the dots joined and get things moving. You know, Saturn is really allowing you and helping you to change the way you work to really get this upshift. So this is great. What I notice here with Pluto down in the bottom is this feeling of resistance from your home. Now, is it because you've got this idea as to what your home life and family life should look like? And, you know, that's stopping you from going out and doing your career because, you know, you're really pulled apart at both ends. I don't know. But then when we look at the full moon, just a couple of weeks later, you'll still see that there is this strong Pluto opposition, this time to Mercury retrograde. And there's another opposition. Obviously, it's a full moon So it's the moon and the sun still in this 4th and 10th house. So there really is this sense of struggle between the home and the career. So my question to you is, how are you going to be able to rectify this? How are you going to be able to make this work together? And if I go back to my beginning questions that I've been considering for a while, like, what part of me or you is returning right now? Where have I been hiding, and what will happen when I stop hiding? What is the truth of me that I'm remembering when I can blank out the noise? To me, a lot of these answers are coming from the home, that place where we can be intuitive. And in fact, when Mars heads into Libra on the 6th, he is actually bringing in this new zeal for this meditative space. He's creating zeal for you to be a little bit more retiring, to just take a little bit more time over managing your spiritual energy, to really, I think this is absolutely self-care. He is going to give you the ability to you do self-care with some gusto, which I think is going to be helpful. But to me, it feels like there is something hidden about you, something you can't quite face, and it's just not captured in your career at the moment. And so if you're noticing in your career that you're just feeling ever so slightly held back, you can't put your finger on it, to me, the answer is to just be at home, but not to be kind of controlling your home experience, but to enjoy the sensation of relaxation, enjoy just being by yourself, enjoy not having to solve something, enjoy not having to control something, just enjoy being in your body for a moment. And I think that will be helpful. Now, I did say I wanted to talk about the position of Venus during this 2 weeks ahead. So we've got this initial trine between the new moon and also Saturn and Neptune. And then halfway through at the midpoint, this is at the time of the first quarter. And I don't actually have a first quarter chart. So Venus is here at the start and she's here with Jupiter at the end. And so this midpoint is happening just as she goes into Cancer, so she goes into Cancer on the 31st, and then she's into these exact squares on the 1st of August. Now, with Venus coming into this sign, she's really coming in to activate your 9th house, which is great because it's already been part activated by Jupiter. And Jupiter's really happy in the sign of Cancer. He is diving into all these unknown subjects: spirituality, philosophy, religion, writing. Like, the word is so important right now, and Jupiter is full of life and full of energy. There's this energy of wanting to teach, wanting to share, wanting to broadcast, really enjoying the sensation of learning that there's a different context. To me, what this is really bringing us away from is actually the time of COVID. When COVID came, and the allowable context to be in was at home, in this place here, in this place of a narrow bandwidth. But now, 6 years later, almost, or just over 6 years, Jupiter is now languishing in the sign of Cancer, and it's this feeling of freedom, this feeling of opening up the mind. And Venus is coming into here. And so what I really see as being a slight difficulty with Venus wanting to expand and to enjoy teaching and sharing, she's going into the square with Saturn. This can be quite a lonely time. This can be a time when we feel a little bit cut off from our experience. With Saturn in the 6th house, he's really trying to make your life work, really to make it work in a functional way so that you can get your bills paid on time, you can do your health, whatever it is you need to do, you can get it all done in a way that's helpful and is measured and is going to work. With Neptune here, it's also asking you to bring in an element of soul back into your life. So you're not kind of like sleeping on the job, that you're wide awake in your life and full of appreciation. Now, Venus coming up here, I think, out of those two positions, I don't see that it's quite so difficult. For me, I just see that Venus's energy to be out there and free. Yes, it can create some tension in how you're organizing your life, for sure. But to me, the big tension is that there's a part of you that needs to be kind of normal, to keep things under wraps, to keep things going, to keep your life flowing in the way it needs to. And with Venus and Jupiter getting closer and closer right at the end of this forecast period, to me, there's this real desire to slope off. There's this desire to travel. There's this desire to kind of throw off and blow off anything that feels difficult and hard and slavish. You know, you don't want to be slaving away at anything. So yeah, these are really interesting times. One thing that I think is also important to explore, and that's because, you know, one of your ruling planets is Pluto. There is this like still this remnant of Pluto and Chiron. Now, Pluto and Chiron have been in a square for a really long time now, and they're going to be in a square for a while longer because, you know, they're both slow moving and yeah, actually, they're just going into this square. They're going to be in this position for a long time. Now, to me, what is happening is there are outside influences putting pressure on this part of you that is like your Achilles heel. It's that part of you, that sort of wounded part, that part that you can't quite get to for any number of reasons. You can help people through it, sure, no problems, but you can't quite get there yourself. And Pluto is putting on lots and lots of pressure. And because of that, there's this sense of, I need to control this. Because if I don't control this, if I can't control the outside pressure, this is going to really trigger me. And so you're in this kind of control mechanism, almost foreseeing the next time you might get triggered and trying to kind of protect yourself in, it's almost in a sort of an allergic way. It's like you've developed an allergy, an allergic response to a particular trigger where your mind body system is hyper aware of danger that Pluto might be bringing. Now, Mercury retrograde, I think, is giving you an opportunity to rewrite this and to recognize that actually miracles can happen. There can be a real big shift in whatever is underlying this particular insecurity. Now, it just so happens that this insecurity, this Chiron thing to heal, is showing up in your 6th house. And I'm born with a 6th house Chiron. And, you know, one of the things that I've noticed with the 6th house Chiron is just how difficult it is for people to function in a normal Western lifestyle. You know, the 6th house is very functional. It's, you know, where you go to work, where you earn your money in a particular way, where you have your car, your house, your everything all lined up. The Monday to Friday experience isn't for people necessarily with a 6th house Chiron. Often people who have to fit themselves into the Western box really struggle with it. And the 6th house also has a lot to do with illness. And so when we're cramped in this 6th house and we don't feel like there's any vision or space to be ourselves, then our next thing that happens is we often get ill. We get really bogged down. And so you might find that you get bogged down again and again and again, that you take on extra work so that you get bogged down again and again and again. Because eventually, if you do it enough, you might just crack it. You might just go, enough. And in that moment of saying, it ends here right now, in that kind of very distinct decision that you make, all of a sudden something might shift and change. Well, to me, Mercury retrograde could be that thing that is about to make it shift. Now, Mercury is at the top of the chart and he is in the sign of he's in the 10th house to do with your career. So to me, what this is suggesting is that there is a work insecurity exacerbated by career, or exacerbated by the idea of status, by the idea of power and influence. And so I'm wondering what it is that's playing in your background, in the background of your mind, that you're afraid of being triggered on. That you're trying to control, because to me, this is a whole other area that you can grow in. And this full moon on the 9th is absolutely giving you loads to grow on, for sure. So there's a few pointers about the charts. Now, as you might already know, I do also do recordings about love and also about money. And it just so happens that this week I'm squashing a couple of sections of them together, so you get a little taster. And if you stay right here and click on that video, those forecasts are coming right up. Lots of love. Take care.